On behalf of Agent Corey Banks and myself, Charles Blair, I want to welcome all of you to this month's edition of Real Meals and Deals.
Yes, yes. Well, first, how you guys enjoying the food? That's it?
Come on, we need more excitement.
How you guys enjoying the food?
We just said we want to welcome everybody, so we want more energy.
Exactly.
That's the thing.
Listen to this.
No, that's not enough. We need more energy. More energy. Yo, don't let me bring my DJ skills out. Get the whole part. Yeah, I'll do all of that. So.
Not to mention, we are broadcast on probably about 3 or 4 different networks. We're live on Facebook, YouTube, and so on. So it's really all over the internet.
And also, we're on the WPB network as well. Shout out to April and the team.
Actually, let's give her a big hand for making all of this possible. This team. Now, the way this meeting is set up, we started off with networking with a purpose. And what we call it with a purpose is we want you guys to get yourself engaged with individuals that are actually doing it in this business. And then we bring in what we would call our guru interview, which will be starting in about 15 to 20 minutes when we get out of the housekeeping. And at the end, we have the opportunity for you to come up here and give your 30-second, 45-second elevator pitch live. Tell us what you're doing, what your business is, telephone number, and so on. But that's why we call it Real Meals and Deals. If you have deals, you have the opportunity to pitch those deals. If you just have a business owner, you have the opportunity to pitch your business, and so on. And that's when it gets started right after we call the guru interview part.
And we have one of my favorite people to hear speaking about short sales, the #1 expert in the nation speaking about short sales. We have Miss Valerie Scott. Came right on cue.
Don't let her small stature fool you.
Not at all.
Not at all.
This woman is a powerhouse when it comes to short sales. There is no one in the country that I know of, and I've been in the business for 30 years, that knows this subject in and out. And it's not just short sales, dealing with bank REOs, foreclosures, and so on. But she will be our guest speaker for tonight. Now, to start off, we're going to do a little bit of housekeeping, tell you what we got planned going on in the next couple months, and so on and so on.
First, we have the Real Women's Network.
Well, actually,
Real Women's Wealth.
Actually, the first thing we got going on would be this month's Real Deal Meetup event. Will be February the 23rd? February the 23rd at the BWI Hilton. That's our big meeting. Usually we have about 150, 200 people at that meeting. So go to realdealmeetup.com, therealdealmeetup.com for the February 23rd meeting at the BWI Hilton. We're still at the Hilton because our normal home at the Marriott is under renovation. So we'll be at the Hilton probably for another month or so. And then we'll be also hosting an event called the Real Women of Wealth, I'm Every Woman event. And that's going to be huge. It's going to be 2 days, and it's going to be geared towards women entrepreneurship. We're going to have individuals talking about, females talking about commercial investing, talking about franchising, talking about notes, talking about, you name it. These ladies are doing it big all around the country, and they're going to be here for 2 whole days at an all-content event that we're going to be giving. We're still nailing down the actual date. It'll be March or April, but be on the lookout for all the marketing that'll be coming out for that. What you got coming?
I have parties. Nothing. Just, I've been working on deals more than events. I've been working on my deals.
Okay. Now, remember, the key to this being a success is your participation. So be mindful that you have the opportunity to say, hey, Charles, I have a question. We'll reach out, get your questions answered, and so on, and we'll get this action party started. So, without further ado, let the young lady put down that fork. I know those greens are good.
Well, give her time to swallow.
There you go.
She's enjoying it.
Miss Valerie Scott, a great big hand. Okay. First of all, I've known this lady for many of years, and I've had the opportunity to work with her for many years as well. And like I mentioned earlier, when it comes to short sales, bank foreclosures, bank REOs, in my opinion, there's no one that has more knowledge on this subject than Valerie Scott. So the first question I have for you is, who is Valerie Scott?
Okay, I'm Valerie Scott. I'm a wife. There's my husband right there. Put that for him as well. Okay, I am a mentor. I'm a grandmother. I am co-owner of the REI Success Center located in Columbia.
And how long have you been in business?
I've been in the real estate business since the year 2000. So this is my 19th year.
19 years. Now, for those 19 years, was it all short sales, or was it a point in time when you said, I'm going to start with short sales?
I kind of fell into short sales, so it wasn't all short sales. We do other type of properties, but one of our main riches is short sales and REOs.
Now, give people a sense of this market we're in right now. Is it good for short sales? Is short sales drying up? You heard people talking about that years ago. Is it a good market? What do you think?
It is a good market for short sales. In terms of Maryland, for the last several years, Maryland keeps rotating between being number one throughout the United States for foreclosures to 2. So right now, Maryland is number 2. Okay, and so New Jersey right now is number 1. So we really do short sales all over the country.
What actual states and cities are actually going to right now?
Okay, New York, New Jersey, California, Chicago, Florida.
So give me a sense of, now those will be kind of hard, all the different markets you're in.
Okay.
A sense of how many short sales your team has done in the last 30 years.
Okay, that's a hard one. We're working on at any given time 45 to 60 short sales at a time. Okay,
So I guess the question now begs to be asked is, do you like short sales?
I love them because it's a great opportunity, not for us just as investors, but also to help homeowners, because these homeowners need us investors to buy these properties. So I look at it as a way, a short sale as a way of, in many cases, giving that homeowner a second chance, because the property doesn't go to foreclosure, and many times they're able to walk away with money. I mean, we've helped homeowners get anywhere from $3,000 to $20,000 that they're able to get at the table, which is tax-free money.
Now, for the investors that aren't familiar with the term short sale, just explain to them exactly what is a short sale or so.
Okay, when a homeowner falls behind on their mortgage, and let's say they cannot sell the house because they owe more on the mortgage than what the house is worth. For example, if let's say they owe $300,000, but the house or the property is only worth $100,000 in today's market, that they cannot sell it without getting permission from the bank. And so the bank will work with the homeowner and do what is known as a short sale. So the bank, in order to keep that property from going to foreclosure, that many times they will work with the homeowner and take less than the amount that's owed on the property.
So basically, in essence, a short sale is the bank deciding to take less than what's owed on the property and agree to it.
We both have to agree now. The bank can't do a short sale without the homeowner's cooperation and the homeowner can't do a short sale without the bank's cooperation, so they both have to agree.
Now, as the investor, what is the advantage of working with this type of situation?
Okay, people call short sales a strategy where you create equity out of thin air. You're taking houses that don't have any equity at all in them, creating some equity so that then you can do something with it. I mean, there's many exit strategies. You can wholesale them, you can fix and flip them, buy them as, rentals. It's just a number of different extras.
So based on your earlier example, the property is worth only $100,000 right now, and the person gets a short sale, let's say 75%. I'm just throwing a number out there. That means the property is short sale to $25,000. Now that investor can go in, if work is needed, fix the property up, and sell it at the market value and make a profit.
Yes, or they can wholesale the way it is and make a profit.
And the reason why I know this is because Valerie has done some of the biggest short sales for me and my mastermind students over the last few years. I mean, she is incredible. It was actually a short sale that she did in Washington, D.C. In fact, I think Bob, you guys were getting one.
That's a PG.
In PG County. What was the numbers on that, too? What was the short sale discount?
We paid $155 for the property. The rehab was about $60,000, and we sold it for 3 times.
So look at those numbers. Now the property had a mortgage balance of how much?
The mortgage balance, I think, $240.
So she short sailed the mortgage from $240 to $165.
Yes.
So
$155.
$155. So, like I said, this short lady knows her stuff. Any questions so far in regards to short sales? Now, give us a sense. Valerie, give us a sense of what are some of the things you're looking at when you decide yay or nay to move forward with a property for a short sale?
Okay, well, it has to qualify, first of all, for the short sale with the homeowner's bank. So that's the first thing we look at. Will that property qualify for a short sale? Let me explain just quickly what I mean by qualify. The homeowner has to have some type of hardship. It could be they lost their job, they're sick, they can't pay their mortgage anymore, job relocation, divorce. Something has happened in their life that is keeping them from paying the mortgage. So that's the first thing we're going to look at if the property qualifies for a short sale.
Now, along with the hardship situation, is there anything else that raises the flag and says this may be a good opportunity for a short sale?
We evaluate it.
Right.
We evaluate the property once we determine that it is a good candidate for a short sale. Then we will go through, we will evaluate the property to see what the profit potential is. Okay.
So you got one criteria is hardship. Would another criteria be the months behind the mortgage?
Okay. In order for most banks to look at consider a short sale, they need to be at least 90 days behind.
Gotcha.
But most of the homeowners that we are dealing with, they may not have paid their mortgage for 2 or 3 years. There's still a lot of properties out there where homeowners are still in those properties where the mortgage hasn't been paid for several years.
You guys, you believe that? A mortgage that has not been paid for several years? Now, the first thing that comes to mind is, why don't the bank just foreclose?
Well, I mean, at once, remember when the market crashed, okay, there was an abundance of these properties, okay? And so they just had so many properties. I don't want to say a lot fell through the crack, but in just getting to all of those properties, they just have not been able to do so. But I will say they are catching up now.
Okay.
So these people who have not paid mortgages in several years, now the banks are starting to foreclose. So What we do is we work with those homeowners before it actually goes to foreclosure.
Yeah. Now, give me a sense of, you mentioned hardship. I know one of the things you've always stressed to me is, Charles, that seller has to be willing to go through that process. They have to really participate in it.
Okay. Also, one of the things that helps us to determine whether or not we want to work with that property is if the seller is cooperative, okay? If the seller is not cooperative, then we can't work with that homeowner. Now, what do I mean by a seller being or homeowner being cooperative? It's a lot of paperwork involved in a short sale for the homeowner, not so much you as the investor or the investor buyer, but for that homeowner. They have to produce their last 3-month bank statements. The bank is going to want 2 years of taxes. Okay? They're going to have to do a hardship letter. So there's a number of things that the bank does want from that homeowner in order to determine whether or not, again, they qualify. There are some homeowners out here who may want to do what's called a strategic default, meaning they haven't been able to sell their house, so they don't want it anymore, so they just want to get rid of it. So they may let the property just go into foreclosure, or they may stop paying it. Well, that does not qualify as a hardship. So the bank is looking for these type of situations. A person could have money in their bank account and be able to afford their mortgage, but chooses not to do so. So it's a process that the bank is going to go through. The bank is asking the homeowner for quite a bit of paperwork. They may ask for that paperwork more than once, so the homeowner has to be cooperative, okay? And a lot of that has to do with who the real estate agent that is involved in terms of working with that homeowner and explaining that process to the homeowner.
Okay, I know we have a couple of questions.
Okay.
Could you describe, define the evaluation process that you use? You mentioned evaluate. What does that mean?
Okay. The question was, can I describe the evaluation process? Well, I'm looking at the house. First of all, I want to know the condition of the house. Okay? Because when I'm evaluating, I'm going to determine what I'm going to pay for that house based on that condition of the house. I'm looking at comps in the area. I may start out with the investor formula, the ARV times 65% minus repairs minus the fee that you want to make. But I also am looking at the comps, what the comps say that this house will sell for in its current condition. So all these things are important in terms of me determining what we will offer for that house and how we evaluate it. Now, I do want to say something in terms of short sales. You can short sale any type of house. It can be a luxury home. We've done luxury short sales. It can be a multi-unit, or it can be a row house, townhouse, condo, okay? But I want you to know any type of property can be short sale.
Any other questions?
You said something interesting to me. I don't really understand that it goes that the homeowner cannot receive any money at all. So is that a change in the rules, or how do you get that accomplished?
It's not a change in the rules. Okay, let me repeat the question. The question is, he was under the understanding that the homeowner cannot receive any money at closing, okay? Well, the second part of that is that the homeowner can only receive money at closing that the bank has approved. Their lender has to approve this. And this isn't money necessarily coming from me as a buyer. This is money that the bank is giving that homeowner for relocation as a relocation fee or as an incentive to do a short sale.
So some banks actually incentivize the homeowner to do a short sale?
Yeah. Okay. The question was, what is the process for wholesaling a short sale? It's similar to wholesaling a regular deal, but with a short sale, you first have to get the property under contract with the seller. It then has to go through that short sale process. The bank is either going to accept or counter your offer. Okay, once you agree with a purchase price with the bank, you find a end buyer. The difference is you're not assigning your contract. With a short sale, you cannot assign your contract. You have to do what's known as a LLC assignment or do it in a land trust. LLC assignment means instead of assigning your contract, you are actually assigning your LLC, or that end buyer is actually purchasing your LLC for a fee, and that's how you are wholesaling.
So when you put the property under contract, the contract name that we usually use when we're doing short sales in Valerie is the address of the property, LLC. So 109 Main Street LLC or 109 Main Street Trust. And then you're able to find a buyer and either assign the actual interest of the LLC over to the end buyer who would be willing to buy the LLC. It was newly formatted, so that way there shouldn't be any issues with it. Or you can assign a beneficiary interest of a trust to that end buyer if they're a little bit more sophisticated. Most people do it in the form of the LLC that Valerie talked about. Someone in the back, yes?
Yeah, do you have to purchase the LLC before you put the property under contract, or do you purchase it after you put the property under contract?
In Maryland, you can get an LLC in a day online. So you can get it when your contract, well, you have to at least know the name of that LLC to put it on that contract.
And you have to make sure that that name is obtainable.
Right.
So that's why we usually use the address, because more likely than not, that address has not been taken as an LLC name. Okay.
Is it true that you have to list all of your sales? You have to be listed on the MLS?
No,
Question?
no. Some banks do want the short sale listed on the MLS for a certain period of time. Okay. For example, if the homeowner has a FHA loan sitting on that house, it has to be listed on the MLS for 15 days. Fannie and Freddie Mac wanted, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac wanted listed for 7 consecutive days, including a weekend. So unless there is a requirement, we typically, the agents won't list it on the MLS.
And for all those that are listening online, Clifton, Erica, Emmanuel, James, Efren, if you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. We'll read your questions off. Give me a sense, Valerie, of there's a tricky little law, and I know you very much well know about it, the Protection of Homeowner and Foreclosure Act. How does that law affect us as investors who want to do this or thinking about doing this as opposed to someone who can able to do it?
Okay. So it's known as the PIFA law, and so that law protects homeowners against people out here who may be trying to scam, okay, or take advantage of this situation. So first of all, you need to know PIFA applies to owner-occupied properties only. So if it's a vacant property, PIFA does not apply.
And that's important.
It really is.
Owner-occupied. Think about that. Not all the properties we jump on are owner-occupied, so you don't need to run away from the property if it's not owner-occupied. Can they do what they normally do in that type of situation?
Yes, but owner-occupied, including, let's say, if it's a spouse and they're divorced or separated. Okay. But other than that, yes, you can do what you normally would do. Now, if it is a owner-occupied property, you need to have a third party in buyer and that homeowner who is selling, if you allow. So that third party can be a real estate agent, and that's who it is in most cases, or it can be an attorney.
So in other words, what she's saying is, you as an investor in that situation, you can't orchestrate a short sale. It has to be an independent party, like you just mentioned. Now, what would happen if they try to do that?
You're risking jail time. Okay, if something went wrong, and if let's say the seller or the homeowner found some type of complaint against you, you're risking jail time. So you really want to follow the law out here. I mean, we've been doing this for years and years, and the laws have changed. Like I said, I've been doing this for 19 years. When the law changes, we change with the law. We do what the law says we can do. It's just a matter of if it's owner occupied, then you know there needs to be an agent involved. And so you work with that agent who's representing the seller.
Now, go ahead.
Sorry, quick question. What if that investor was a licensed agent himself or herself? Could they still orchestrate that transaction, or would this be a third party?
The question is, what is if the agent is a licensed real estate agent themselves and the buyer?
Yes.
And the buyer. Okay. If that agent is also wants to buy that property, it's a conflict of interest. That agent can't be the buyer and also represent the sellers. Because think about it, whose interest is the buyer looking out for? They're looking out for their own interest. So if you come across something like that, and if you're an agent, you probably could pass it on to someone in your office or to another agent, but at the same time, you can represent yourself as the buyer and submit your own contract.
Do you use the acronym again, DIFA?
Yes. Protection of Homeowner and Foreclosure Act. That's what PIFA stands for.
And there's a lot of information for someone new like myself. But what's the first step in foreclosure? Like, I feel like we're missing that.
Absolutely.
Okay. The first step in the foreclosure process is pre-foreclosure. And a pre-foreclosure is when the seller falls behind on their mortgage. Now, we're talking about PIFA law. PIFA says they consider foreclosure, pre-foreclosure or foreclosure being when the seller is 60 days behind on the mortgage. But the mortgage company considers a person or a homeowner delinquent on their mortgage after there are 90 days. And typically after that 90 days, they're going to, that file within the bank is going to go into another department that's called loss mitigation. So in pre-foreclosure, what I want you to understand about pre-foreclosures, the homeowner still owns that property. A lot of times people think when they hear foreclosure on it, in it, they think of the bank as owning the property. That's not the case. Pre-foreclosure, owner still owns it. They still have an opportunity to do something to resolve that delinquent mortgage, okay? Or they still have an opportunity to keep it from going to foreclosure. There's a number of things they can do. They can do a loan modification. They can do a repayment plan. It's quite a few things that the homeowner can do, and they can do a short sale.
So basically what she just said was the process is 60 days or 90 days late on the mortgage, and at that point in time, the bank has the right to begin the foreclosing process. Once they begin the foreclosing process, it usually starts off with some type of notification in some type of jurisdictional newspaper or advertising. And then that usually happens for a period of time. Three postings in a particular newspaper or the actual one of the records that we use in Maryland for that is called a daily record. So that's how the process begins, and then if it goes all the way to fruition, it's sold on the actual courthouse steps, or the bank takes it back on the courthouse steps at the point of the auction. Yes, any other question? I think you have it.
So, if I find a property and it's not owner-occupied, I'm not qualified to go through the short sale process, do I get a realtor? How do I pay them? What happens then?
That's an excellent question. The question was, if you find a property, you're not qualified to go through, or don't know the foreclosure, the short sale process, basically what do? You get a realtor, and how is the realtor paid? The first thing is you do want to get a realtor involved because most of the lenders, I'm going to say probably about 97% of all the banks and lenders out here are going to want a real estate agent involved. Okay, so you are going to get a real estate agent involved. Who pays the real estate agent? The bank, on behalf of the seller, is going to pay that real estate agent.
Now, I guess the question that comes to mind is, could someone come to you and hire you to do the short sale?
You could. We have a team that we work with. We have real estate agents that we certainly work with and can refer you to. We are involved in the short sale process in terms of helping to get that short sale process. We're helping the buyer with determining the amount they should be offering, so that you can offer something realistic that's going to be accepted. We're keeping you informed of what's going on. And one of the most important things in terms of that LLC assignment or getting that closed in the end, and knowing what title companies to use in terms of doing this. So, yes.
That's the reason why we farm every short sale that my company do and every short sale that all my mastermind students do over to Valerie. Because she's going to represent the seller. So keep that in mind. She's not representing you. She's representing the seller. What's the process?
Okay, now I'm working with the buyer, you. The agents represent.
Well, that's what I meant. That's what I meant.
Okay.
That's what I meant. The agent is representing the seller. But I know for a fact that her company has a huge amount of success, and she knows what to look at when you're looking at a file to say, this bank is a bank that you can work with, that will do this and do that. This bank don't like the discount to pass this type of loan won't do this type of loan won't do that. That's the advantage of having an expert that knows the business of doing short sales and doing it all over the country.
How did you go about getting relationships with those litigation people at banks?
The question was, how did we get relationship with the loss mitigators at the bank? Okay. By doing short sales. I mean, we've been doing this, like I said, I want to say over 12 years, and so a lot of times when you're calling the banks, you many times may get the same person, or you may request that person. So just by working with the different banks.
So, this is an issue I've had before. So you deal with a real estate agent is representing the seller. They have to list it for X amount of days, but we're the ones that initiate that process and are spending the time for this process. What happens when somebody sees that on the list and says they want, I guess, supersede our deal or whatever? How do we deal with that?
That is an absolute question. All right, but let me repeat this question. The question was, let's say you're dealing with a real estate agent, and one of the things I want to say in terms of real estate agents, you have to have agents that know how to do short sales, because that agent can make or break your deal. All right, the question was, what happens if the property has to be listed for a certain amount of days? Remember I said on an FHA loan, it has to be listed for 15 days. So it's listed on the MLS, multi-listing service, which means it's out there for everybody to see. So what happens if somebody comes in and puts in an offer before you do? Okay. Well, it really shouldn't happen that way, because on that 15th day, your offer needs to be ready to go in. Your offer needs to be the first offer that goes in. That's how you, I don't want to say get around it, but you have to watch those numbers of days, because the agent may not, you know, really think about it. Okay, this is the 15th day. I need to get this buyer's, you know, do a contract and get this buyer's contract submitted. Yours needs to be the first offer that that seller sees.
So with that, so when they're listening, what are they listening at? The price that they hope to get, like the full price, or are they offering for that dirt cheap price that we're trying?
No. The question was, what price is the agent listing the property at? The agent is listing the property at the as-is value. Okay. One of the things I like to say when you're working with an agent, you as a buyer do not depend on the agent to tell you what to offer.
Keep that in mind, guys.
Very important.
A lot of people who are new in the business, they fall susceptible to the point of, well, this agent knows the business. I'm going to go by what this agent says. I'm going to listen to what this agent says. You have to take control of your numbers. You know what the number needs to be at for you to make your profit. And that number has to work. It's not what the agent says the number should be. The agent must put the number at the number that you need to be at.
And you're not going to, in most cases, you're not going to have a problem having the agent submit it at your number, but you need to know what that number is that you need it at in order for you to make money. Remember, everybody is in this really to make money. Agents are commission driven and they have to eat too. Okay? So the higher that the bank accepts, that's the more commission that the agent will make. Okay? But that doesn't necessarily help you. You want to put your offer in at an amount that you know you need it at in order for you to be able to make a profit. That goes back to you knowing how to evaluate property.
Touch a little bit on, is there a number and value-wise that investors should look at, such as are war zone properties or areas where you should try to do short sale? Does it matter? And so on.
Okay. I look for, I typically don't do war zone properties. And let me tell you why. If I am going to wholesale that property, you have to think where your buyers want properties. So you need to think ahead. If I get a property in a war zone, who am I going to wholesale this property to?
People who don't know what war zone properties are.
Yeah, for those who don't know what a war zone property is, it's an area that is considered low value in regards to after repair value. It can be an area that is the blighted area of the city. It could be a board up area and so on. And those areas are usually the hardest areas to sell, but some investors concentrate on those areas for rentals because you can get the biggest discounts in those areas as a rental. But the question is your buyers going to be plentiful, or is it going to be like finding a needle in a haystack? Because if you're trying to short sale in the war zone area, it may take you a while to find a buyer who's looking to buy and hold, because most war zone areas are really only good for buy and hold, if anything at all. Because some war zone areas have 80–90% blight, which means 90% of the houses are boarded up, and they're not even ready to be developed right now. So that's what's meant when you say a war zone area.
Now, listen to what y'all said. It may take you 90 days to find a buyer. The bank is only, the moment you get the short sale approval letter from the bank, they're giving you 30 days to close. Some it may give a slightly a little bit longer, but the average is 30 days. So if you know that you don't have buyers, let's say in a war zone area, and your intention is to wholesale that property or those properties, then you don't want to do a war zone area. You want to do bread and butter neighborhoods where maybe first-time home buyers are buying. Okay? Because your end buyer is going to be either a rehab or a landlord. And where are they looking for properties? Most of the time in the bread and butter areas.
Touch on one of the things I always hear from new investors who really just go off of what they read in books about short sales is the fact that short sale can take you 2 years to make happen. It can take you a year before you can do a short sale. What is the time frame really like on average? I know it's no such thing as on average when you talk about a short sale. But if you could give me some barometer from start to finish, what is the average length for a short sale?
Okay.
To get approved.
To get approved, okay. First of all, when we're doing short sales, we're going to work as slow or as fast as we need to be. And let me give an example of that. We can do a short sale sometimes within 45 days. But let's say you as the buyer don't have your financing together. And I know that if we push this short sale through, you're not going to be ready to close because you don't have your financing together, and the bank is going to want to close in 30 days. Okay? So then I'm not going to push as hard to get that short sale done in that 45 days. Now, another factor that determines the amount of time it takes to do a short sale is really the seller, right? Sandra, we have a situation right now. The seller. How quickly does the seller get their documents to the bank? If the seller is dragging their feet and they take a long time to get those documents to the bank, that's going to slow that process down. I don't know any short sales now that are taking a year,
Right.
9 months, okay? Average time really 45 days to 120.
And the key, like you just mentioned, is having everything lined up, ready to go when you get that.
Really, while the short sale is being done, because you as the buyer are not doing the short sale, what you need to be doing, if you're going to purchase it, to fix and flip it, you need to be getting your financing in order. Okay? If you're going to be wholesaling it, then you need to be looking for buyers in that area. You should be building that buyer's list so that when you get, really the bank is going to give you a verbal approval. They're going to give your agent a verbal approval first. And then after the verbal approval, typically within 7 days, you're going to have a written approval. The moment I get that verbal approval, I'm going to that list of, if I'm wholesaling, I'm going to that list of buyers to see if they're interested in that property.
So, on those particular, assignments, LLC assignments, is an EMD required, and what is the recourse in that particular incident if you do not advise?
Great question.
That is a great question. The question was when we're doing the LLC assignment, because we're going to wholesale the property, is the EMD, earnest money deposit, required? And what happens if we don't find a buyer? Now, what you need to first understand that the LLC assignment transaction is a totally different transaction from the transaction that you have with the seller. So you have 2 different contracts. The first contract you have is between you and the homeowner or the seller. Okay? The second contract that you're going to have is an LLC assignment contract between you and that buyer. So you're deciding, you as the buyer are deciding if you want that end buyer to put up a EMD, okay? Well, the answer is yes, absolutely. I want all end buyers to put up EMD monies. Okay? I'm normally asking for about $2,000. Now, let's say that also the buyers that we're working mostly with rehabbers and landlords. I'm only interested in cash buyers or buyers that can get cash quickly. I'm not interested in a buyer that's got to get bank financing. Why? Because they may be denied the bank financing. That bank financing may take 30 days or more. Okay? So it has to be a cash buyer. If the buyer changes their mind, we keep that $2,000 earnest money deposit, or whatever the earnest money deposit is, because in some areas it's even more. We do properties in New York, you're looking at $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 earnest money deposit. In our neighboring area, in DC, okay? In DC, you're going to be looking at earnest money deposits that you're going to collect from your end buyer, $5,000, $10,000. If they do not close, then you get to keep that money. The second thing is I'm not giving them that whole 30 days to close. I'm only giving them 14 days. Because if they do back out and they cannot close, then I need to go to have time enough to go to the next buyer.
Charles, there's some questions on it. It's a gentleman by the name of Mike Mobile, and he's asking, are you buying and opening up a brand new LLC for every single new short sale, and when do you open it up and pay for it?
Great question.
Okay. The question was, do we open up a new LLC for each short sale that we're putting offers in? The answer is no, because all of those short sales are not going to be accepted. I already know this going in, okay? And so I have a little, I guess you can call it a little trick that I do.
Oh, let's see.
All right. You guys follow me on this. All right. Let's say 5 properties. I'm going to put 5 short sale offers in. And I have an LLC that I'm using. Okay, let's say if it's, give me a name of that.
Main Street LLC.
No, because that's the name of the property.
Okay.
How about Main Street Properties LLC? Main Street Properties LLC. So for 5 properties and even more, I am going to use Main Street Property LLCs to put offers on maybe 5 to 7 properties that are short sales.
Okay.
They are not all going to hit at the same time, meaning we're not going to get all acceptances at the same time. They're not going to all close at the same time.
Right.
The first offer that is accepted, then that's the property that I will close on with Main Street Properties LLC.
Okay.
Okay. The other properties, when they're getting ready to, if I find if it looks like they are going to be accepted, then I will let the agent know that I need to change the LLC. Okay.
Why do you need to change the LLC?
Okay, her question was, why would I need to change the LLC? When you do a LLC assignment, I want you to think of it as you're selling your company, because an LLC is a company, it is a real entity. When you sell that company or you sell that LLC, or you assign that LLC to someone else, and they pay you for it, that's how you're making money in between, they pay you for it, you no longer own that LLC. It is not yours anymore. Okay?
So when she used it on the first property that to close on, she had to have a different one now because she used that one on the first property.
Okay? So that's how we do that, so we don't have to get all these multiple LLCs.
And by putting in that recordation for changing of the LLC, you're able now to save money Because now you have to have all these LLCs out there that may not go through what you go through. And you can be, I mean, I love it. I love the idea.
It works. I mean,
I know it does. Yes.
I know I probably asked this twice already.
It's okay.
But like, it's starting, right? Like, again, we're talking abstract for a person getting started. Where do I go if I want a short sale? Like, where do I start?
Okay. The question is, where do you go if you want to find a short sale property? There's a number of ways to find short sale properties.
And this is going to get into marketing
Right, I was
strategies.
going to say you're talking about marketing now. So you have to market to homeowners. You can contact an agent. There's short sale properties on the MLS. You can buy a list with short sale, with upside down properties. They're not going to be called short sale, but mortgages that are upside down. You can drive for dollars. There's sites, for example, Realty Track. You can go on Realty Track and get, they'll give you a list of upside down properties. So, I mean, there's a number of different ways to find these properties.
This sources such as 30, 60, 90 days late on mortgage. So there's a number of ways in which you can find different opportunities.
Real quick. So in that what we spoke about earlier, I was asking that the bank require. So are we channeling you and you are asking for the MD from the bank requirement, or just we are requiring it as a sign?
I think what he was asking about is, you mentioned to him about how the buyer's affected. What he's talking about is when the initial contract with the seller and you, if you don't go find a buyer, how does that work? What
Well,
happens?
he's asking, but he also was talking about assignment. The
Right.
bank has nothing to do with that LLC assignment. But if your question is, when you submit a offer on a property with the seller, do you have to put up an EMD or earnest money deposit? The answer to that is no. Okay? Now, there is no law that says that you have to put up earnest money deposit. You do have to have proof of funds, but not earnest money deposit. Depending on the agent that you're working with, your agent may require that you put up a earnest money deposit, because that's what agents are used to asking for with any contract that you put a contract on.
I have another question from the gentleman, Mike
Abilene.
yeah.
Abella, actually.
Abella, we're just chopping his name, sorry. His question is, who handles all of your interior BPOs and appraisals on your short sales?
Okay, the question was, who handles all the interior BPOs or BPOs and appraisals on the short sales?
Now, first of all, explain to me what a BPO is.
Okay, a BPO is a broker's price opinion. A broker's price opinion is when the bank is going to request an agent to go out, look at that property, and give what they think the value is. So most banks are going to do either a BPO, broker's price opinion, or they're going to do an appraisal. So the question is, who handles all of ours? Well, the agents that we work with are trained in this, okay? And so therefore, our agents know to go to that BPO and meet that BPO agent or that appraisal, okay? They're gonna, when they go, they're going to be taking documentation to support what the offer is on the property. They're going to take comps. They're going to take repair estimates if the property needs a repair estimate. So they're going to be taking supporting documents to support the offer that has been put in. Now, let me say something about this. All agents don't go to the BPO or appraisal. So if you're looking for an agent, remember I said you need an agent that has experience with short sales. And if that agent says to you, because you should be asking the question, that's the number one question I have, that's going to make me decide if I'm going to work with that agent or not. Do you go to the BPO or to the appraisal? Do you meet that BPO agent or that appraiser out at the property? If the answer is no, I just give them the lockbox code. I'm not going to use that agent because the BPO is the number one and most important thing that that bank who is sitting in another state depends on to determine if they're going to accept your offer or not, or what amount they do want to accept. Right. So it is so important that that agent representing the seller or the agent representing you actually goes out to that BPO appointment, meeting that agent out there or meeting that appraisal out there.
So to further answer Mike's question, you're not finding the BPO agent. The bank is telling you what BPO agent is going to come, when, and where. You're just meeting there with the documents to justify your numbers.
Yes.
You're going to try to, and we do this a lot when we're working with the appraisers and so on, try to sway the person that's going to be there to look at our numbers and to use our numbers in correlation with whatever number they come up with so we can have a more favorable result. That's the reason why you want to have that agent that is experienced like part of Valerie's team who will be there to try to sell your case on the numbers you need. That's the difference between making and breaking your short sale.
I got a question, because my aunt is eligible for a short sale on one of her properties, and I'm an agent, so like a lot of the other agents I work with that had done short sale deals are telling me that I needed a negotiator for the deal. So like, is that what your company offers, or like how does that all work?
Okay. They're telling you that you need a negotiator because, okay. All right. The question as I think of the answer. He was saying that he knows of a short sale, and he is an agent, and that the agents that he has talked with are telling him that he needs a negotiator. There are third-party companies that do short sale negotiations. You as an agent, what the Real Estate Commission says, that you cannot negotiate short sales. You only can facilitate short sales. Facilitation meaning that you can gather the paperwork and turn the paperwork and that type of thing. Okay, but they're saying that you cannot negotiate short sales. And what it really comes down to, they're talking about, let's say if there was a promissory note, if it was a bank that was going to take a promissory note on the homeowner, okay? They don't want you as the agent negotiating that promissory note. So what they're telling you is correct, that you cannot negotiate short sales. That there are third-party companies, attorneys do it, some title companies do it, and third-party companies that do that. Okay.
Mike has another question. He said, have you ever shorted an agricultural loan and the kinds like in Cecil County? And then he said, by the way, I love Valerie. And so I said, well, we do too. She's the real deal. So,
Agricultural.
I have not done an agricultural loan, okay? Mike and I know each other, so ask Mike to call me.
Okay. Exactly.
Yes, Mike, we can discuss it. You know how to reach me.
There's another question from someone else.
Okay.
It's a Pete Belden, and he's saying, as you are negotiating with the bank, what tactics do you have to use to get them to accept your offer? Asking because most times your offer will be lower than the BPO. Should I say that again?
Okay. He said, the question was, what type of tactics do you use to negotiate with the bank? Because he said most time your offer is going to be more than the BPO.
That's lower.
Oh, I'm sorry, be lower than the BPO. Okay. What it goes back to is that BPO or that appraisal. That's really what's going to make the difference. Having that agent go to that BPO appraisal, that's number one. But let's say if the BPO appraisal did come in higher than what you can offer. Okay, it comes in higher. Many of the banks have what's called a dispute process. Okay, they have a dispute process. So you can dispute that offer. And how do you dispute it? They're going to ask you to get contract. They want licensed contractor estimates. They're going to want you to send in comps. They're going to want you to send in pictures. So that's how you dispute it. So if that does happen, you just find out about their dispute process and go through the dispute process and dispute it.
I'm going to put you on the spot. What are the 2 or say 3 banks you like working with the best because they're favorable? And what are the ones that aren't that favorable that you know there's going to be a tough bank to work with for a short term?
Okay. I like, and what's favorable to me is the ease of their process.
Right.
Okay, that's what favorable is to me, and they don't take a long time. Okay, I like Aquin right now, and this does change. Okay, because their banks' policies change. I like Aquin. I like SPF, what is it? Specialized Loan Servicing, and I like. Let's see if I had a third one that I like. Can't think of the third one.
Okay, now what is the opposite of that?
Opposite, Bank of America. BT&T.
Oh,
BB&T.
Okay.
Okay, and I don't like working with any of the community banks. Okay, I don't, because it's like when the community banks, you could be talking to the president of that bank or the vice president of the bank, and not that I have a problem talking to them, but they take it personal. Okay, it's like you just took this money out of their account or out of their pocket, whereas when you're dealing with some of the larger, your Bank of America, your Aquin, you're getting a processor, right. Or you're not getting someone who is taking this personal. They are doing their job. This is just they doing their job.
Any other questions? Yes.
So I know it's a time frame when you can and you can't go up to a person that's in like either 60 days.
For the PIFA law, yes.
Yeah. When are we allowed to talk to them, and then we must then get a short sale payment?
Okay, the question was about the time limit when you can talk to the homeowner where PIFA applies, okay?
Now, right now, PIFA applies in Maryland, right?
Yes.
We're not talking about
any
Washington, D.C. or Virginia. We're talking about Maryland property.
Yeah, and that's just Maryland, okay? So keep that in mind. If what PIFA is saying, if they're 60 days or more behind on their mortgage, then PIFA applies, and if they're owner occupied. So let's say you market to a homeowner, or a homeowner may see one of your signs somewhere, okay, or they may have found you on the internet, and the homeowner contacts you, okay, and you should be having some type of lead sheet or homeowner information sheet that you're taking information from. Well, when you're asking that information, once you find out that if they're owner occupied, because you should be asking the question, is the property vacant, is it occupied, is it owner occupied, tenant occupied, you want to notice that. So if you find out that it is owner occupied during that conversation, and you find out that they're more than 60 days behind on their mortgage, what you want to say is, by law, I can't, I'm not going to be able to speak any more about this. The law does require that a real estate agent be involved. Would you mind if I had an agent give you a call?
So, in other words, the answer is owner occupied over 60 days later.
When it's not occupied, you can just talk to them, and you don't need a short sale specialist.
Well, you need an agent. A lot of them, it depends on the mortgage that's sitting on a house.
Right.
But most of the lenders are going to want you to have an agent involved.
And what we're talking about specific in this situation is short sales. Now, if you want to buy any other kind of way, you can do whatever you want. But we're talking about a short sale. Any other questions?
Mike had a
Okay.
He said PIFA is a funny law, or the homeowners being protected by their negative equity.
I'm trying to comment with a question.
Yeah, I don't understand.
Now, you guys
It's
know,
a question.
I don't understand.
you guys know how PIFA came to be?
No.
PIFA came to be because of a real estate investor who cheated a state trooper's wife out of their property. The way it happened was the real estate investor told the state trooper wife, hey, if you sell me the property, I'll let you move back in it. Real estate investor got the property and put the state trooper's wife out. The state trooper went to their local congressman, and they went ahead and created that law all because of that issue from that investor who did that to the state trooper. That's how the law came to be. Give me a sense of, if I wanted to work with Valerie Scott, how would I go about doing that?
Call me. I do have some business. We have some business cards, and I can give you our email. Let me give it.
Absolutely.
Okay. The way to contact me is at info, I-N-F-O, at REISuccessCenter.com.
That's info at REISuccessCenter.com. Would you like to call you as well?
Yes, phone number is 410-715-9696.
Any other questions? Going once? Going twice? Let's give Valerie a great big hand. My name is Charles Blair, I'm an alcoholic. Okay, Charles Blair, Chucky Buy Lucky Houses. We're looking to buy properties in Maryland, Houston, Ohio, Jacksonville, Florida, Virginia, and Washington, D.C. We are looking for wholesales, rehabs, any type of opportunity you guys may have. Deals that you don't think will close, deals that you think are bad deals, send them my way. Telephone number is 443-925-2860. That's 443-925-2860. Chucky Buy Lucky Houses.
Agent Corey Banks, and I'm also an investor as well. Send me those tough deals. As Charles said, those deals that you don't think that's going to close, or tough to close, you don't think it's a deal, the numbers don't work. Send those to me, and we may be able to work something out. So you can call me at 443-380-0182, or you can email me at Agent Corey Banks, Agent CORYBANKS@gmail.com.
And with that, we'd like to say thank you guys for coming out this month. We'll see you next month.
And give me some more energy to that. All this good information, look forward, get some more energy. There you go. There you go.
And we'll see you guys next month. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you, Charles. Save me.